If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time, all of the time, all of the time.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are, all over the world. And welcome to Neely Fuller, I want to say producejustice.com, but the compensatory concept, Neely Fuller's compensatory concept. We welcome you so much for being with us, especially today at Headbanger Video. Thank you. And many others can join the live chat and can view us, and I'll give you the information on that in just a few moments. But as usual, I am Mr. Bobby, and with me is Professor Gate. I will introduce him in just a few moments after I do our usual housekeeping duties, as we continually try to make this show better in spite of all the things that work against us with this show. We thank you for your participation and for your patience as we are continually evolving. Okay, now, as usual, you can help support and promote the show by hitting the like button and the share button. To watch the show live, you can go to YouTube at Produce Justice, Facebook and Instagram at Produce Justice, Neely Fuller Jr., and also you can watch the show live at producejustice.com, which I understand is the easiest way to view the show and watch the show. Now, a replay of the show is available immediately on all platforms. Now, this one is really important. To get on the show to share your thoughts, click on the link in the feed and you'll be prompted on what to do next. You can also find the instructions on the website at producejustice.com. And feel free to read a passage from one of Mr. Fuller's books on air for discussion. To contact the show, as I think Aaron Litton did, and I did send you a link where you can contact the show at producejustice.com. Contact at producejustice.com for your questions and your comments. So, Aaron, if you are listening, that is Aaron from Spain, you can do that, and we can go from there. Now, to contact us off air, send your questions to, here we go again, to contact at producejustice.com. Now, the books, yes, to order the books, go to producejustice.com, and all the books are available. And as a matter of fact, if Gate does it, I think there's a commercial out about the an edition, Mr. Fuller's edition. I think there's 20 books. I think they're leather bound and a very nice gift. You can, Gate will probably talk more about that as he gets on, but it's a collector's item for your coffee table. It's only 20 of them, so you might want to get your order in on that. Again, here it is right here. Also, the limited edition coffee table size leather bound collector's item version of the original 1984 code book is now available, which you can get by going to, here we go, producejustice.com. Available on a first come, first served basis. And when they are gone, they are gone. So you want to make sure that you get your orders in. Thank you again for listening tuning in and beginning to share with us. Sent Walking Ghazi, thank you. And Terrence Martin, 7101, thank you. We will try to read as many as we can. That we only have an hour, and I would say this: that when you get on, please, ma'am, please, sir, make your question short and sweet so that Professor Gate can answer it, and we can get as many on as we can. If you even have to rehearse whatever it is that you have to say, please, ma'am, please, sir, do that so that we can move it fast because an hour goes fast. Anyway, without further ado, let me present to some and feature other and others, Professor Gate. Professor Gate, good morning. And I know what you're going to say, but how are you this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Bobby. And you are prognosticative today. I am going to say I'm still learning. And that was Mr. Fuller's signature line. He was 95 years old when he went back to join the ancestors, and he, up into his final breath, he was still learning. And so that's a teachable moment for each of us. Never think you've already gotten it, that you know it all. I can assure you that you have not. So that's what we're going to try to do here to make sure that we are all still learning and let you know that this is your show. This is not my show. This is not Mr. Bobby's show. This is Mr. Neely Fuller's Counter Racist Code show. And we are here to continue his legacy, but we ask you to participate. I did drop in the link to the feed that you can join the conversation. It's very easy to do. Just hit on that link and then you'll see the instructions on how to participate. And we love to have your input because we are talking about some important matters. Mr. Fuller went to join the ancestors back in February 1st of this year. And we have been doing our best to keep his legacy going. And so, but we do entreat you to join us. We have an interesting topic today. We're going to talk about sports and entertainment. And that's we have to ask sometimes some necessary but uncomfortable questions, not just in sports, but in any of the 9 areas of people activity. And Mr. Fuller included entertainment as part of one of the 9 areas of people activity. And he did it for a reason, because it's one of those things that touches our lives. And so we have to talk about it. I have to also inject that your opinion, just like mine and Mr. Bobby's and anybody else's, Mr. Fuller gave us a pass under the label of VGQ, Victims Guaranteed Qualifications. In other words, he said that any person who's a victim of this system of racism, you have the right to say what you feel. And we don't have to agree with it. And it does us no favor. It's not productive. It's counterproductive to argue back and forth about one person's opinion on how they're going to dismantle this system. As long as we're on the same page and we're trying to dismantle this system of racism, then they have an opinion on how we go about it. So let's talk about this. We've been seeing sports in the news a lot lately. We saw this Sharon Moore story, and we've seen one story after another go all the way back to Colin Kaepernick. And some people have actually stopped watching sports. They just say, hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm boycotting. I'm mad. They're not right. They're just another way of leading us around by our noses. It's another way of promoting injustice, white supremacy, racism, and so forth. Well, all of that may be true. Part of it may be true, or none of it may be true. As Mr. Fuller used to say, it's either true or it's not. But who sets the standard on what's truth and what's fiction? But I do want to put a take out here, and I'll get more into my take. But what I first want to do is start out with a quote from Mr. Fuller. And when we talk about counter racist logic, and Mr. Fuller's opinion on these different topics, we go to his code books. He had 3 books. He had the original book written in 1984. Then he did a word guide in 2010, and he did his expanded revised edition of the book in 2016. And you can get the books by going to producejustice.com. Let me go to the code book for a minute. Let's go to on page 121, in the area of entertainment. Mr. Fuller did speak about sports. He said during the existence of white supremacy and according to the compensatory counter-racist logic, it is correct to expect that the white supremacists, racist man and racist woman, collectively to promote forms of entertainment among non-white people that are deliberately designed to produce non-constructive results. Now he went at length on this. He talked. He had a pretty big soliloquy on this. He said during the existence of white supremacy, sports and entertainment are 2 things that the white supremacists allow many non-whites people to participate in. Okay. And I'm going to get down to the end, but what he said, as long as white supremacy exists, do not think, speak, or act as if being praised for your abilities in sports and entertainment means you are valued as a so-called human being. I'm reading from the code book of the expanded edition in the area of entertainment on pages 121 to 122. Now the last part, he just laid it on the line. He said, what many white people see when they look at non-white people performing in sports and entertainment is not a person, but a strange, exotic, fascinating animal, creature, ouch, possibly worthy of being sheltered, fed, groomed, decorated, petted, and proudly paraded at the end of a gilded leash. Now that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. Now, once again, we get into the VGQ of the matter. I think those are some very strong words. But one of my takes on this is, do we judge the athletes more harshly than we judge other people? Let's marinate on that for a minute. Do we judge athletes? Do we hold them to a different standard? I remember the Colin Kaepernick incident. I mean, he's kneeling on the sideline. Everybody's saying, hey, right on, Colin. And they were mad at the other players who didn't join him. There was all kind of opinions about this. But one thing one thing you'll learn about Professor Gateway, whatever you want to call me, is I don't sit well with hypocrisy. I don't sit well with double standards. You can accuse me of a lot of things in this world, and some I'm probably worthy of. But you won't accuse me, you won't catch me being guilty of hypocrisy. I will stop in my tracks and check myself. And so, wait a minute, Gate, are you being hypocritical here? Are you applying the same standard to yourself that you're applying to other people? Let me get your early take in here, Mr. Bobby.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely correct. We have to check ourselves, and as Get Black With Me says about that, he said by Mr. Fuller's logic, all areas of human activity may be used as a tool of racism, hence the need for a counter-racist strategy. And that's true. We need to counter what's going on because it is going on before us right now. And in the process of doing that, we are still learning what to do and what not to do. So there's a balance in there. So we're constantly learning, and hypocrisy is not tolerated. Mr. Fuller said, tell the truth. tell the truth. The truth hurts, but it also heals. So we have to tell the truth. Have to tell the truth. Go ahead, Gate.
I like what Still Learning said. He said, I am a Kaepernick
Yeah.
to this day. Well, Still Learning, I'm going to tell you, to a very big degree, so am I. I remember doing one of my, I was on a different program one day doing the Kaepernick episode, and he was taking the knee, and people were, one side of the fence or the other. And to prove that I was not a hypocrite, I got off the mic and got on my knee in the studio, and the people thought I was crazy. I said, if this gets me fired, then so be it. I am right here with the brother, but I'm not expecting him to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So I got right down on my knee with Brother Kaepernick. So Still Learning, I'm right there with you. Let's get Mr. Fuller's words on this topic. And I do want to throw in this mix just to complicate things a little. This Sharon Moore story. Sharon Moore, of course, was he was the head coach at the University of Michigan. Very winning team. He had a 9-3 record. He was making $6 million a year. And he got into a little entanglement. And it was really, I'm not going to repeat the story, but bottom line is, it's been the talk of many shows. It's been in the news quite a bit. And it brings up that question also, are athletes, coaches, people in these high profile positions, are they targeted as well? And so there's a lot to untangle when we start talking about something as entertainment, which has so much money involved and it's so visible. Now, visibility does not equal susceptibility. In other words, just because you're visible, does it mean that you are more of a victim or you're more targeted than anyone else? Well, let's get some of Mr. Fuller's words on this topic.
Racism in the sports industry. Yes, that comes under entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Racism is in everything that people do. 9 areas of activity. I say it all the time on this program and all through the book, the code book that you get by going to producejustice.com. What are those 9 areas of activity? Economics, education, entertainment. That includes baseball, football, you name it. Labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Everything that people are involved in 24 hours a day, all over planet Earth, is dominated by racism. Everything, no exceptions. If a person can name something that I haven't named that is not dominated by those white people who believe in white supremacy, I want to know what it is. So in answer to your question, you're talking about sports. I said everything. Underline. And I want everybody to understand that. I keep saying that. And it seems like even the listeners that listen to this program all the time. Keep missing that.
Well, what Mr. Fuller is saying, he's saying unequivocally everything, no exceptions. Look at the 9 areas of activity, and everything falls under the auspices of racism and white supremacy. So for anybody who's asking the question, it's almost like it's a non-question because the answer is so obvious. Is sports also used as a tool for racism? The answer is an unequivocal yes, according to Mr. Fuller. Now, what some people have come to believe when they look at the stories in the news is that somehow maybe sports figures and coaches and athletes and people like that, they are more susceptible. They are more victims than the average Joe Blow. But to that, I would say racism is system-wide and it's not occupation specific. We see what's happening in the sports world in living color. It's right in our faces. And sometimes we might get the opinion that sports figures are more targeted because they're public. But that's because we see them on TV and they're in the news. Same thing with entertainment people. But economic dependence on this system goes across all economic lines and all areas of visibility. And the punishments may differ. So you're talking about a sports figure. They may lose a contract. They may lose an endorsement. Their contract season may be shortened. But the average person, they face similar punishments, but on a lesser scale. And the system rewards silence. Whether you are an athlete or you working from 9 to 5. So in short, this is my take. Athletes aren't more susceptible to racism. They're not more targeted, but they are more exposed because they're more visible. You out there, you experience the same racism just without the cameras rolling. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to Mr. Fuller's code book. And I get the impression that Mr. Fuller was not comfortable with how sports was being used as a tool in this area of entertainment. On the code book in page 162, this is the expanded revised edition. In the area of law, Mr. Fuller said, do not confuse comfort with justice. Do not accept comfort as a substitute for justice, or speak or act as if comfort has the same meaning as justice. In other words, when you get all comfortable with sports and you see these people getting these big contracts, and we get our flat screen TVs, our 75-inch screen TVs on Sunday, and we're hooping up and jumping up and down and high-fiving, that's comfort. What Mr. Fuller is saying, the racists sometimes do things to make many of their victims feel comfortable. They do these things so that their victims will value comfort more than justice. And some of the things and methods that he used was things like tasty foods, sweets, thrill producing drugs, chemicals, loud music. The list went on and on and on, but he did say exciting games and so-called sports. And this was in his code book on page 162 under the area of law. In other words, he's saying that this is a tool that's being used to make people feel comfortable, sports and entertainment, so that they can take their eyes off of the prize of justice. And I want you to marinate on that for a minute. And I'm going to, like I said, one thing I'm not is a hypocrite. Do I watch sports? Yes. Matter of fact, I was watching the game last night. I didn't watch it very much. I was watching Pittsburgh, I don't know, it's the Steelers versus, I think it was Miami. I had it going on in the background, but I was actually working because I don't let entertainment stop me from what I'm doing. Usually when the game is on, it's in the background while I'm doing something else. I look at it like I never take my eye off the prize. I watch sports with my eyes wide open. I'm aware that it's a tool. I'm aware of that, of the 9 areas of activity where the racists tried to confuse us and use us. So I'm not going to sit here and be hypocritical and say, hey, I don't watch sports. Yes, I do. But that's my choosing. And so some people say, well, you shouldn't be watching sports. Remember what they did to Kaepernick. Well, if I apply that logic, I might not go to the grocery store because of what they did to that worker who got fired for an unjust cause. I might say I'm not going to work today because I don't like what the owners are supporting or how they're spending their money. So we have to do a self-examination and ask ourselves, are we applying the same logic across the board, or athletes being singled out? Mr. Bobby.
Gate, you are exactly correct, and everything that you described is exactly what Mr. Fuller described in the 9 areas of people activity. And what it amounts to is distractions. Those that are in charge are deliberately putting up. Right now we're discussing sports, but Mr. Fuller said in the 9 areas of people activity, which they are. There's a book out called The Unseen Hand by Dr. Ralph Upperman. You mentioned Sharon Moore, the Epstein situation. It doesn't matter what it is. Healthcare that's coming up. All these things are really, even though there is some validity to all of them, they're all distractions. What do I mean? By applying counter-racist logic, someone or some group is allowing it to happen, and we get distracted, whether it's sports, whether the Epstein files. By the way, you'll never know the truth about it because they don't want the truth out of it, whoever they are. They don't want that. You can discuss all this stuff, all that you want to, but if you don't focus in on who they are, and you don't know, and I don't know, and Gate doesn't know who they are, you'll never know. But they're in control because they are allowing it to happen. To me, Gate, and to the rest of the world, it's nothing more than that I call Hollywood. It's a made-for-TV movie played out in front of us. But when we develop the counter-racist strategy, as Mr. Fuller suggested, in the 9 areas of people activity, then we won't allow ourselves to get distracted by what's going on, because they are trying to destroy us, and they are, through the various programs that you can mention, they are doing this. It's going on right now. But as you develop your counter-racist strategy, then you can see through what's going on. And it starts with, as Mr. Fuller stated out, and as the Bible even stated out, telling the truth, starting with yourself and going on. That way, all the noise that is going on all around us, including with me, we don't get so caught up in it. Black Lives Matter or whatever it is, the latest killings in Australia, or even Rob Reiner out in Hollywood, or Sharon Moore. We don't get caught up in that, because that'll keep us away from those that are in control that will probably never be exposed. Gate?
Mr. Bob, you're exactly right. And that is so true. As Mr. Fuller earlier, one of the quotes he said earlier, don't confuse comfort with justice. These distractions are thrown at us constantly. Things are put out here to divide us, to dilute our power as we try to counter racism. Let's get Mr. Fuller's words again. A caller called in and asked him about this topic. Hang on a second.
White supremacist has dug up old rappers to sell alcohol while their sexual music plays loudly in the background. Black seniors are used in commercials to sell over-the-counter drugs. There's lots of black people in fast food, particularly in insurance commercials. Do you, Mr. Fuller, think this is a deceptive feel-good moment to make it appear that there is no longer racism by showing black faces? Or could it also be that the white supremacists using black people for fun, glory, and entertainment to sell their products?
All of the above, but I understand the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Everything that the white supremacists do is to give strength to the system of white supremacy. That's why it's something that needs to be gotten rid of, so we can replace it with a system of justice. A system of white supremacy is a system of non-justice, non-stop. As long as you have the system of white supremacy, you're not going to have justice on the planet anywhere, at any time, under any circumstance. It's not possible to be done. You have to get rid of the entire system and replace it with a better system, and the logical, better system would be a system of justice, which means guaranteeing that no person is mistreated, and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Underline constructive. And then the world would be on the course of being the so-called, to use a cliche, better place.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot do that with the system of white supremacy in place. It's a system that's designed to do harm, directly and indirectly, to people of color in all areas of activity, non-stop, in all areas of activity: economics,
yes,
education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Worldwide, non-stop, every minute of every day. And so regardless of what they come up with, it's all designed to have a destructive effect on the people of color of this planet.
That's pretty strong. Mr. Fuller said no matter what they come up with, just remember, it's designed to have a destructive effect on people of color on this planet. Hang on a second. What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we're going to talk about, I'm going to put a question out here. Are athletes expected to sacrifice more? And we're talking about not just sports, we're talking about entertainment. And I feel that sometimes we put these high profile people out here and you deal with them separately than the masses so that you don't have to deal with the masses or the global system. So hang on a second. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Try to figure out why Mr. Bobby's video is not coming up. Oh, there you go. Hang on a second.
Jr.'s original counter-racist code book. This special edition leather-bound treasure is an essential keepsake for those who value the work of Neely Fuller Jr. Each limited edition copy has been personally signed by Mr. Fuller and comes with a unique certificate of authenticity. There are only 20 precious copies of this scarce 1984 first printing, which comes in a rare coffee table size. This timeless masterpiece won't last long, and when they are gone, they are gone. To order your treasured copy of this collector's item, visit www.producejustice.com.
All right, we're back, and I want to thank the people who've already ordered the limited edition copy of the 1984 original code book. Hold on a second. Let me get my, see what's happening in the video here. 1 second. Like our stream has slowed down quite a bit, so don't go anywhere. We're getting this. Get Mr. Bobby back on the stage. It's technology or something. It's great when it works. All right, yeah, like I say, once again, thank you for the people who've already ordered the limited edition of the code book. I see Horace and Sabrina and Mr. Wright, and some brother ordered 2 copies. So we've gone through about, I think we've gone through about 6, 7 copies of the book. We have 20 copies. Go to producejustice.com. This was created for people to have a keepsake of Mr. Fuller. Comes with its own certificate of authenticity signed by the Fuller family. And each book is numbered to prove that it's an original. And so if you can't afford it, don't worry about it. You can get the regular books. We don't want anybody to go in the hole trying to buy these books. We already talked about holidays and celebrations and things like that and how we spend our money. I think it's a good investment, but that's your call. Let's talk about our topic. We're talking about our topic today of entertainment and sports, but not just sports, any type of entertainment, and how it has been used, how it's being used by the system of racism to distract. to comfort, to confuse. If you're spending all of your time and energy, psychic energy and emotions, hooping it up on Sunday afternoon, watching the game, then it's very likely that you're not applying as much energy to the concept of justice. So also a topic I've been pushing this morning is justice requires sacrifice. We can go back through history, and anytime something major happened, whether the 1965 Voting Rights Act, whether it was Brown v. Board of Education, whether it was some of the more recent accomplishments, movements of the justice needle, there was sacrifice. We're going to go back to the Kaepernick situation, where there was a movement to get the players involved in justice. We had seen George Floyd. We had seen horrific instances where injustice was taking place. And so the players decided to take some type of action, several players, including leading the charge was Colin Kaepernick. And to many people, that was expected. They were like, well, look, that's right. That's what they should do. These guys making all this money. They're out there tap dancing for these owners. How dare they? They should stop playing. They should pool their resources. Shut down the entire National Football League. Well, I think that was a noble objective. But I'm going to come back to my question because, and I'm going to, in case some of you all are wondering where I'm going today, I think that sacrifice has to be spread around. Just like you have armchair quarterbacks, people that'll sit on the sideline and scream and talk about what the quarterback should have done, what the running back should have done, what the coaches should have done. We also have armchair justice seekers, people that expect others to sacrifice while they're not sacrificing anything at all. Should athletes sacrifice? Should they be in the fight for justice? You darn right they should be. But should they be uniquely expected or obligated to do so? And I say no. Reminds me of without getting religious over here, reminds me of a passage in the Bible. It said, should Jesus bear the cross alone and all the world go free? No, there's a cross for everyone and there's a cross for me. Same thing applies to justice. Do we expect our entertainers, our athletes to bear this cross? And I put that in quotes. While the rest of us enjoy, sit back, yell at the TV screen. The athletes are assigned a symbolic role by the system because they are highly visible. They are spokespeople and representatives by default. And that's a burden that's rarely placed upon the 9-to-5 worker, the accountant, the CPA, the government worker. Visibility creates this high expectation of sacrifice. Athletes and other entertainers are told, sometimes explicitly and sometimes implicitly, that they should speak out, even if it means they lose a contract, even if it means they reduce their playing time on the field, even if it shortens their careers, even if there's a public backlash. We expect others to sacrifice. We expect the athletes, the entertainers, to do all this sacrificing. While we're not placing that same expectation on teachers and accountants and government workers, they're just going about their business because the camera is not on them. If we are going to dismantle this system of racism and injustice, it requires sacrifice from all of us. It does not, you can't sit silent on your job while you're encountering daily microaggressions. You can't say, well, look, I'm not going to rock the boat because I need this job. I need this paycheck. You can't just say, I'm trying to get this promotion. I'm saying you can say that. But we have to hold everyone to the same standard. It's easy because this ongoing compliance with the system, we sometimes sweep injustice under the rug because it's easier to scapegoat the athletes than for people to be held accountable for their own inaction. Yes, I'm being hard today. I'm being harsh. I'm not trying to give the athletes a pass. I'm saying don't get so comfortable in your own inaction. Don't point your finger at the athlete or the entertainer, because there's fingers pointing back at you. The system actually benefits from this unequal sacrifice, because if they focus on what's happening on the front line, they don't have to worry about the rest of us. It allows everyday workers to avoid accountability. It turns anti-racism into an individual risk rather than collective obligation. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to give anybody a pass. I'm just saying, on this particular topic today, it's time to look in the mirror and stop putting all of the expectations of sacrifice on others just because they have a high profile. What can we do? We can put our work in the community. We can fight racism wherever it raises its ugly head. We cannot get too comfortable watching sports that we lose sight of the battle. Mr. Bobby, let me get Terrence in here. Terrence, we have Terrence in the waiting room. Terrence, I'm going to put you on the stage if you're ready. So hang on.
What's going on, big brother?
Terrence, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to see you this morning.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can offer a little bit. I work in the NFL and the NBA as a scout agent trainer.
Okay.
I work with the LeBrons and the Steph Currys and the Anthony Davises and the CD Lambs and the high pro Shaquille O'Neals. I work with those guys. And the bottom line is you're absolutely right. Sports is a slave plantation. And on the slave plantation, you can't shake things up and upset the master and upset the apple cart. So you and I can remember the 60s when the Big Six or whatever they were called got together, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, uh, and all those brothers got together to make change. But um, during that time period, sports was not a big money industry like it is now. You know, those brothers were making 50, 60, $70,000, and today's brothers are making $50 million a year. And like Elijah Muhammad said it best, most of our people have accepted a position of permanent slavery and servitude. And what a lot of people don't realize is the brother from Africa about 15 years ago did a movie called Concussion. And you remember that movie, brother?
Now, what was the movie again?
Concussion.
Who was in it?
Will Smith.
I've heard about it. I did not watch it. I'm going to admit I did not watch it.
What a lot of people don't realize is, we jump up and down and shout and cheer for football players and NFL athletes, but people don't realize the reality of it. Football deletes. How do football players pass away? They pass away from football, all of them. It takes 17 years off a football player's adult life.
Wow.
Average man lives to be 69. Average football player lives to be 52. And each one of those hits that we like to see takes anywhere from a week to 2 years off of that man's life. The hitter and the hittee. Nobody ever talks about it. So what that actually is we're voluntarily lynching ourselves with those kind of numbers and that kind of reality. And then their agents, their white agents, they make these hundreds of millions of dollars, but they don't let the public know those white agents steal all that money. And so it's a big slave plantation. It's a big mess, and they have to keep those Negroes in line. If you see, most of your NBA players marry white females, and those white females are sent in by the agents and managers to get that money back. And so, it's a big mess, and the billionaire owners know that you could take 10 NBA athletes, and if they put their money together, they could buy the whole country. So they got to keep the dirty tricks up. They got to send the white girls in. They got to send the drugs and the alcohol in to keep the brothers from doing what you're doing. Having intelligent thought, intelligent dialogue, intelligent discussion in hopes of building a community and a reality and rebuilding communities and realities. So it's a slave plantation with a lot of tricks in the game. And just the same way they keep the entertainers drugged up, doped up, like they did our sister Whitney Houston. Keep her dressing room full of dope, full of cocaine, so she doesn't come into an realization or actualization of herself, of her divine self, divine feminine, and want to build a community. They got to keep that down. keep that suppressed, compressed, repressed, and oppressed.
Terrence, you sound like you have your hand on the pulse. The point I'm making today, and I know, like I say, it's probably not a popular opinion among many, but we're going to continue to see the Sharon Moores, the
Yep.
Whitney Houstons. We're
Yep.
going to continue to see that if we collectively place all this hope and responsibility on these people who are human, while we're pretty much scapegoating ourselves and saying, well, look, they're up there, they're representing us, and the racists know this, so that's who they're going to destroy. They're going to destroy the head of the snake. That's what they think they're doing.
They the target.
That's right. They're the target. I'm saying that we are all targets to a less visible degree.
Right.
And let's not put all of our energies up here, up here, lifting up, glorifying athletes, while we're down here abdicating our own responsibilities. And yes, that racism that's hitting the athletes is hitting the 5 worker too. I'm just saying that just because they're more visible, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily subjugated more. It's more visible. I'm not saying that they're sacrificing more, or they should sacrifice more because they're more visible. I'm saying it's going to take a collective effort. The 9-to-5 worker, the football player, the rapper, the singer, the politician, it's going to take them, everybody, to help dismantle this system. And that's all I'm saying. Let's spread the sacrifice around because the racism is spread around.
That's a perfect point. What you making is a perfect point, because you know, who are the richest people on earth? God showed me one time. He said blacks were 7th or 8th in gross national product. People say blacks are 7th or 8th in gross national product in goods and services in the world. And God told me, And he asked me, who's the richest people on earth? And he told me it's Black Americans. And I asked him why. And he said, if Black females can throw away $30 billion a year on fake hair, you got to be a hell of a rich people. You got to be the richest people. People can throw away $30 billion a year. In 10 years, that's $300 billion. Let me ask you a question. What can we not build with $300 billion, brother?
Man, we could shut this thing down overnight if we collected our money.
You think we could build a hospital with $300 billion? You think we could build a school? You think we could build a factory or two with $300 billion, brother?
Hospitals, housing for our senior citizens, education systems for our youth.
You name it.
Yeah.
You name it. We the richest people on the planet. We can throw away $30 billion. We can put $30 billion a year on some fake hair weaves and wigs. That's the richest people on the planet. You giving a $30 billion tip at the restaurant. Just taking $30 billion and throwing it in the garbage can. You got to be a hell of a rich people to do that.
But Terrence, we're at the end of the show here. I really appreciate your input, your take. It's very profound. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir.
Feel free to join us anytime. And we'll see you back next week. All right, folks. That's Terrence.
Thank you, brother.
Brothers Deep. I want to look at some of the comments that are coming in. Now, somebody did say can we put the show in the portrait mode so that more people can watch? And I understand that makes it a lot more visible on your cell phone. Now, if you go to Instagram, and I'm not sure the person who made this comment has Instagram, but we do show it in portrait mode on Instagram. But we do, and next week, what we're going to do, we will put it in portrait mode so it shows up on portrait mode on YouTube as well. So thank you for that insight and observation. We got some very interesting comments coming in. Wow, we got a lot of comments coming in, and some of them are kind of long. I'm just going to pick out one here. Get Black with me. They shoes. Okay, hold on there. I'm just going to put some of your comments on the screen. They choose athletes. They do not do that out of thousands of talented others because they are considered more likely to keep their mouths closed. Well, I think that a lot of 9-to-5 workers, the people that get promoted, the ones that get the jobs, the ones that get the most perks, we find quite a bit of that also in regular jobs. The ones that don't rock the boat are the ones that get promoted. The minute you rock the boat, you look at people like Jamel Hill and others, the minute you start rocking that boat, you're out of there. So once again, there's this perception that it's the athletes, they're choosing the athletes because of their influence, but it's also because of their visibility. From top to bottom, this system rewards silence, and it punishes those who try to change the system. And the athletes are no exception, nor is the accountant, nor is the 9-to-5 worker, nor is the government worker. Still Learning says all non-white people are authorized users of the resources granted by those who support, practice, and defend racism, white supremacy, especially entertainers classified as Black. Consumerism is promoted as success. Once again, very profound statements. I'm just putting up a few of the comments. They've been coming in fast and furious, and I'm trying to, I'm kind of cherry picking here because there's so many. Let's see here. I want to find some that's controversial. Okay, here's a good one. I don't want to just read the ones where people agree with me. I found one where I'm going to get with Breeze Creation LLC. He said Brown versus Board of Education. Hold on there. Brown v. Board of Education did nothing for us versus voting and rights did Board versus Board of Education. I think he said did nothing for us, and voting rights did nothing for us. Well, I'm going to disagree. I don't like the fact that it was diluted. I don't like the fact that it was usurped by people who were compliant and complicit in the system. I don't like the fact that we were, like Dr. Martin Luther King said, we were integrated into a burning house, into a burning building. I don't like the fact that voting is being usurped, it's being denigrated, it's being used by the system just like everything else. But I'm going to quote what Mr. Fuller said. He said a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. So I wasn't a big fan of integration. I thought we should have continued to build our own institutions. But sometimes you don't have the benefit of hindsight. At the time when people were fighting for integration, they were actually fighting for resources. The Brown v. Board got rid of the separate but equal because it wasn't working. And so they thought they'd try something else. So it didn't, what they replaced it with didn't work either. And it probably put us in a worse situation than we were in. But we didn't have the benefit of hindsight. And now that we have people who are still around like us, like Breeze Creation, we can put something out here better that might work. we can rally our wills and find a better system. So yes, I agree with you, breeds creation, but I'm going to put an asterisk beside it. People doing the best that they could at the time with what they had. And remember, every time one of these systems comes about, whether it's integration, whether it's this, that, the other, remember, you're trying to operate in a system that's never going to let you go so far. We tried economics. We tried the economic approach. And look what happened to Rosewood and Tulsa. So it hasn't always been like, well, since I didn't this, we have all these options that's going to work every time. I guarantee you, if it wasn't Brown v. Boyd, it would have been something else that would have failed too, because the system is hell bent on maintaining the system of white supremacy. But thank you, everybody, for your comments. I'm going to put up another final quote from Mr. Fuller.
In the next one, and on and on and on. And only stopping to eat a whole lot of greasy food until they get unhealthy and can't do no more sex. And that's what we do with them. Because they ain't got no mind.
Mm-hmm. To the code between sex and entertainment, especially because of the hypersexualization in most mainstream music and entertainment that got me into porn as a teen. Mr. Fuller?
The white supremacists govern everything that black people do, including everything that black people want to do. I'm going to say that again. We're in the system of white supremacy. That's the world government. Black people are you might say, the foundation of that system. Non-white people, all the different shades of black. So the white supremacists set our values. So why is it this way? Because the white supremacists want it this way. They want black people, just like in all areas of activity, but sex is real powerful. So the white supremacists say everything that black people do sexually, we're going to control it. Mm-hmm. We're going to have them marathon sexualized, for one thing, and burn themselves out at age 20. I mean, just running from one bedroom to another. I mean, eyes bugged, just fanatical. Jump in their car and take off to the next bedroom, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and on and on and on. And only stopping to eat a whole lot of greasy food until they get unhealthy and can't do no more sex. And that's what we do with them. Because they ain't got no mind.
Mm-hmm.
They just, their sex drive just running here and running there, going in every direction you can name. So we feed that until they just burn out because of it.
Mr. Fuller, he tapped on another topic. He briefly tapped on a topic we talked on earlier about sex. And what he was basically saying that that's another one of those distractions that the racists put in front of us to keep your eyes off of justice, and how some people just go crazy with it until they, like you said, they either get in trouble, as we saw recently. Mr. Bobby,
Yes, sir.
what's your take on some of this stuff?
Like I said before, and like was mentioned, all this is just a distraction to keep us from the focus of who is really in control. You have all these subjects that have been discussed, or topics that have been discussed, but those that are in control are that way. They don't give a damn because we're on this program talking about it. Why? Because we have absolutely no power to stop them. We don't have a military. We don't have anything to stop them but one thing, which is to tell the truth. But many give up on that. These are all distractions to keep us from knowing who they are, which I said before, we will never know who they are. But the truth will expose who they are, and even to us will expose us. Tell the truth. How do you know that? Look at the algorithms that are taken over with the use of a computer now. They control that. And lastly, remember, as I said 2 weeks ago, about the Pegasus program. If you think that I'm not being truthful, or the statements that I'm making not being truthful, just check the Pegasus program and see exactly what I'm talking about. And then that may open up your understanding as to what is going on and who is in charge. And if you have a name, let me know. Let me know. ProduceJustice.com.
Thank you, Mr. Bobby. I'm going to read a Headbanger video, his quote, his comment, which encapsulates much of what we've said today. We've been given this mentality of needing a savior to come save us. In other words, we build up these people. We need Steph Curry. We need LeBron. We need some entertainer. We need Jay-Z or somebody to come along and fight this battle for us. Wave some magic wand. Boycott, fight the system for us. Well, we get on back to watching the game. And Headbanger said, that's why we need a code. The code is for the individual. That's really what all of this comes down to. That's just for a minute. Forget everything I said. I'm just giving you my VGQ. I'm not here to sway anybody. The only dog I have in this fight is justice. I'm not here for self-aggrandizement. I don't have any political agenda. I'm not beholden to anybody or any party. I have my opinions. But let's forget all that for a minute. Mr. Fuller wrote 3 books. That's why this show is here. It's not about me. It's about the code, whether you agree with it or not. And Mr. Fuller said you can disagree. He wants you to use logic. And logic is of the universe. It's not my logic or your logic. Logic is universal. So today we were talking about entertainment and sports. It's one of the 9 areas of activity. I do encourage you to go to producejustice.com to find out more about the show. Mr. Fuller, and thank you for that quote, Headbanger. put up a few more quotes before we get out of here. Somebody say the churches too. Yes, the churches. I tell you what, also you might do. You might go back and look at some of the. Thank you, Stephanie. Look at some of the past shows. We've tackled these topics. We've gone practically through all 9 areas of activity. This new show under, since Mr. Fuller passed away back in February, we relaunched the show around early March with Mr. Bobby and I. Mr. Bobby was the producer of the Counter-Racist Code show with Mr. Fuller for 5 years on Blog Talk, and a few years before that on Talktainment. I was the producer. Mr. Bobby was the co-host. And so we were given this charge, this responsibility by the Fuller family to keep this legacy going. And have we been perfect? No. Do you agree with everything that I or Mr. Bobby has said? Well, I hope not. I hope you're using logic. And whatever you feel is the best approach to countering this system, I hope you're using it. But also, and this is what the point I've been making throughout this show, you can't just talk about it. You have to be about it. You can't expect the athletes and entertainers to do what you're not willing to do. That's what I'm saying. There was one last quote, I'm going to read from Mr. Fuller. It was from his expanded edition of the Counter-Racist Code show, of the Counter-Racist book. On page 443, it's from his, every now and then, Mr. Fuller will just write down some notes. He's like, do with this what you will, what you please. He didn't stick it in any of the 9 areas. It was almost like it was your homework. You take it, digest it. If you want to stick it in one area or the other, you're free to do so. Well, this quote was in page 443. And it was almost like his last word on sports. It was in his last book. And in the last section of his last book, he said, during the existence of the system of white supremacy, which is racism, many games, sports, and other forms of entertainment are designed to produce thinking in support of white supremacy and racism. Now, why is that important? Because this coming, what's the night? What the day is Tuesday, Thursday, you're going to have a football game on. Sunday, you're going to have football for almost from sun up to sundown. They're all over across the sea playing football. They can have game on in the middle of the day, beginning of the day, at night. All I'm saying is look at this sports with your eyes wide open. Am I going to say don't watch the game? No, I'm not going to say that. That's your decision. But just know, as Mr. Fuller said so eloquently in many of the videos we played today, sports and entertainment is a tool, like practically everything else that he outlines in the 9 areas of activity, that are used to perpetuate the system of racism and white supremacy. So you take that information and do with it what you will. On that note, we're going to wrap things up here today. I want to thank you again. We come to you on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. I'm Gate, joined by Mr. Bobby. And so join us next week. Come back right here at 9 o'clock. Join the discussion. We put the feed. That's the other thing, too. Don't just complain about the show and that you disagree. I'm giving you a chance to come on here just like Terrence did today. We're not screening you. You want to come on here and say, I don't agree with you, Gate. I don't agree with Mr. Bobby. I don't agree with Mr. Fuller. That's all right. We're not going to fight about it. That's your VGQ. Any victim of this system has the right to express himself on how he wishes to dismantle this system. We're all on the same page. We just may have different tactics. Let's see here. We got a quote coming up here from, what are the two kinds of ball games under this worldwide system of white supremacy and racism? Well, E. Williams, you tell us. If you put your answer up here, I'm going to put it up here for you. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We'll see you next week right here on Neely Fuller's Counter-Racist Code Show. You can get the show. You can watch the show in reruns right away after the show on Facebook, on YouTube, and listen to some of the other shows. You can go in and put in your comments, and also like the show, share the show. Comment. It's not just my show, it's your show as well. The way to support the show is to buy the books. We don't accept random donations. If you want to support this show, if you want to support Mr. Fuller, you buy the books. You can do that at producejustice.com. Mr. Bobby, any other words?
As usual, producejustice.com.
All right, brother.
To order your treasured copy of this collector's item, visit www.producejustice.com. Get your copy of Neely Fuller Jr.'s original counter-racist codebook. This special edition leather-bound treasure is an essential keepsake for those who value the work of Neely Fuller Jr. Each limited edition copy has been personally signed by Mr. Fuller and comes with a unique certificate of authenticity. There are only 20 precious copies of this scarce 1984 first printing, which comes in a rare coffee table size. This timeless masterpiece won't last long, and when they are gone, they are gone. To order your treasured copy of this collector's item, visit www.producejustice.com.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time, all of